Hey everyone, this is Ashley with CTandRina Digitals. I'm going to show you a tutorial today on how to use my floral texture / digital background overlays in Photoshop. I'm going to do a few different ones. This is from my first collection. This is from my fall collection, and this one is from my winter collection. I'm going to do this one first. This is the images I'm going to be using. I will link all of these in the tutorial as well. So I'm going to go up and select all, edit, copy. I'm going to paste in a layer above my image and resize. Okay, and I'm going to hide that layer for now. I'm going to click my background layer, go over to my quick selection tool, select subject up here at the top, and that selected her pretty good, so I'm not going to do anything else with that for now. Go ahead and drag your layer down to duplicate it. Create a layer mask, and it will automatically select the background. Go ahead and select or press Control-I on your keyboard, and that will invert so only the background is selected. Go ahead and make this layer visible and press Alt, click between the layers. We'll make sure it is completely off of her. And now you can, depending on what kind of digital background it is and what kind of image you're working with, you can play around with the blending modes. This would be on multiply. I am going to do it on soft light. As you can see, it already looks pretty good. I'm actually going to add a bit of blur to the background. If you zoom in, you can see that it looks okay, but it still is not as blended as I would like it to be. So I'm going to add a little blur. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, not much, right about 4. Okay, and now I want to zoom in and make sure that it is not on her anywhere. So you can see there's a little bit on her hair right here. So go ahead, and if you need to brush some off, create a layer mask. Go over to your brush, make sure your black layer is selected. Make opacity 100%, sorry. Make my brush a little smaller and brush it off of her hair. Okay. On her hair back here. I'm going to make my brush a little bigger. I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit just to feather it in. Okay. Make sure it's not on her feet anywhere. Leg. Before, after, flatten the image, and that's it for that one. Okay, next, I'm going to do these two. Now I did change the color of her dress. I did do that with my color change action, which can be found in my shop as well. Select all, copy, paste. Resize if you need to, hide that layer, duplicate your background layer. Oops, I'm sorry, not yet. I messed up there. Let's delete that. Select your subject first. Quick selection tool, select subject. There's a little spot down here that's not selected, so I'm going to take that out of there. Oops. Sorry, guys. There we go. Make sure. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I want to duplicate the layer, create a layer mask. Control I to inverse. Make this layer visible. Alt button, click between the layers to make it just on the background. Now this one I believe I want to keep on normal mode and just brush away what I don't want. Because most of the layers I'm not really going to get anything else that looks, which that doesn't look too bad either, but I think I'm going to keep it on normal. And I'm going to create a layer mask. Brush, black to brush off. I'm going to put this on 20% opacity for now. Now I do have a gray layer under here, which I don't mind, but if you wanted to change the color of your background to match, you could. This would probably be better if there was like a mocha or a chestnut background on gray, but I actually don't like, or don't mind the difference in the gray and the brown together. If you wanted to paint any of it back on, you would just switch between your black to a white brush and it would just brush right back on. Zoom in, see if you need to clean up any edges. Right here a bit, could get cleaned up right now, see like right here. So go ahead and click on this layer, your layer mask. Black, because I want to clean it up on her arms. And that's going to brush it off of her arms. Oh, did too much there, so I switched back to white to paint it back on. Right here, it didn't get enough in there when I selected it, so I'll paint that on manually. And I'm not going to get it perfect just because that can take a while sometimes, but white to paint it on, black to paint it off. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of blur to this background as well. Select the background, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Before, after, flatten, just that one, and this one, select all, copy, paste, resize, hide that layer, select your subject. I like to use the select subject tool. You can do it more manually if you'd like to, or use the lasso tool or whatever you prefer. Duplicate, create a layer mask, Control I to invert the layer, Alt key, click between, make it visible. There's that. This one, let's see, soft light. Dodge. You can just play with what you think looks best and how you want to do it, but I believe I'm just going to keep this one normal and brush it off. Create a layer mask to brush it off. I'm going to do 20% again, opacity. Again, I do not mind the gray with the green here. I don't want to brush off much. I do want to make this layer, or the overlay, a little bit darker. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go up to my levels and again, Alt, or you can press this right here to make it only adjusting that. I want to make it a little bit darker. There we go. Merge those layers. Just trying to make it so I could do both at the same time. So this background already had a little bit of a texture on it, which doesn't make much of a difference unless you were erasing a lot of the overlay. You can adjust the opacity of the background if you want it just to be subtle. I like to show more. I'm going to add some blur to this one too. Maybe not as much. Sorry, blur, Gaussian blur. I don't want to add as much to this one. Okay. And that's it for that one. I did change the color of the dress on this one as well, which I did with my color change action. And I will link those all below.